2 dead and a policeman injured in Madang. PNG designers showcase talents. And sailboats and canoes mark the start of sailing season.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me with Sunday's news. 2 mobile squad sections from Lay's MS-13 and the Sector Response Unit are now in Madang to provide support to Madang police following ongoing unrest in the town. Yesterday, a police officer was attacked and 2 youths were shot. The violence was triggered by the recent killing of a teacher and the subsequent attacks on locals in Madang town by relatives of the teacher. Martha Louise reports from Madang.
2 men are dead and a policeman is in critical condition in the Modilon General Hospital following violence yesterday morning near Madang town. A senior constable was trying to negotiate with local people who were protesting when he was slashed on his head and neck. Police at the scene said the group was made up of mostly local people, was angry over the harassment they had suffered on Friday by relatives of a teacher who was beheaded on Monday night. Police say the locals were angry as they were not connected to the teacher's killing. Locals also set an unmarked vehicle used by police on fire. Meanwhile, 2 sections of MS-13 and 1 section of Sector Response Unit from Lay arrived early this morning to assist Madang Command. Situation still remains tense. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
2 sections of Lay's MS-13 and a Sector Response Unit vehicles from Lay have arrived safely in Madang to assist police restore normalcy. Madang police patrol the town and the South Coast Highway all night and continued this morning with reinforcement teams from Lay. The units patrol the South Coast to Tapo checkpoints, making sure locals are not regrouping. However, locals have continued to cut down trees blocking off road, preventing vehicles from passing through despite police clearing the roadblocks. Business houses in Madang have been advised to close business today until further notice from police as the situation remains tense. The fighting follows the beheading of a Bao primary school teacher on Monday night. Retired PNG Defence Force Commander Jerry Singirok says a recommendation in the gun report is to seize the gun supply into the country. Singirok says the government must seek the support of intelligence from external sources abroad. He says part of that objective will identify who supplies and who controls the influx of guns into the country.
With the country seeing a gradual increase in gun-related crime and lawlessness among deaths, the former PNG Defence Commander says identifying the gun chain is critical. He says one of the key recommendations in the gun report is to have the capability of knowing who buys and trades guns.
And one of the important strategies that we came up with is to cut off gun supply. Gun supplies and ammunition availability for criminal purposes. And we just have to cut the gun supply off through international borders, finding factories where they make homemade guns or making ammunition and removing them from the supply.
In 2005, Singirok and his team compiled the gun report and presented it to the then Prime Minister Sir Michael Somare. Almost 18 years after, not one of the 244 recommendations is being implemented. Despite the gun amnesty months before the 2017 national elections, guns were at the forefront of clashes, armed robberies and attempt assassinations in the country.
The other important aspect is to remove all illegal weapons and ammunition already circulating in Papua New Guinea. Because the guns which are being used, say, in Port Moresby will no doubt end up in Papua New Guinea or in the Gulf province because you can transport it through various means.
The retired Major General says the government needs to act proactively.
We need to be proactive in the way we discuss these issues that affects both countries. For example, we have regional partnership with Australia, bilateral arrangement with Solomon Islands through the MSG setup. We have these forums that we can discuss and how can we compare notes so that we share resources, intelligence, so that we can fight the crime, because it's a global phenomenon.
Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
Former Northeast MP Labi Amayo is disappointed over Housing Minister's comments of him owning 301 titles outside Port Moresby. Mr. Amayo described the comments as a political score by Minister Kaupa with their election petition case nearing. The 301 land titles relate to a land near Duran Farm.
On 31st March, the Housing Minister held a news conference announcing changes in the operation of National Housing Corporation in his Northeast District. Among other statements, he said this.
And we are reversing all the title back to Housing Corporation. So he must come to the media, explain how he got a title, or he go down to fraud squad.
7 days after Minister Kaupa's statement, Mr. Amayo spoke for himself. A vocal Amayo expressed his disappointment.
A minister representing the state, falsifying, information and coming out to the public and telling, the nation that Labi Amayo has 391 titles is totally misleading. I have no idea of any form of title that has been written to me or under my name from NHC.
Minister Kaupa and Mr. Amayo will be attending the election court case tomorrow at the Waigani courts. Amayo says Kaupa's comments are misleading as he has no link with the business owning the 301 titles.
John Kaupa misleading statements in the immediate past are only to discredit me. Is all personal vendetta that is now coming out on media and trying to create a scenario is only to score political points, so that he knows very well we've got our election full trial petition that will be held on Monday.
The former Northeast MP is seeking for an apology or will be pressing charges against the comments by the Housing Minister.
I'm asking him to apologize to me within 7 days, or I will personally file court proceedings against him for defamation, and I will refer him to the police for his arrest. Such false information in which he has come out on the media stating that I have 391 titles. Imagine, if I had 391 titles, I don't need to work.
Jack Lopave Jr., National EMTV News.
The 26th Australia-Papua New Guinea Ministerial Forum was held in Brisbane and was co-chaired by Julie Bishop, Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs, and Rimbing Pato, PNG's Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade. 4 other senior key ministers in the government were also present to attend. 6 key agendas were discussed and both countries reaffirmed the continuity in supporting each other. Among them is the Defence Cooperation Programme, APEC Cooperation, Immigration and People-to-People links. Again, the 26th Australia-PNG Ministerial Forum concluded with the signing of a communique by Ministers Pato and Bishop. The forum was held in Brisbane on Friday. The government has signed an MOU with a group of blockchain investors from the Silicon Valley, USA last week. Blockchain technology is an internet-based open ledger platform that the global community is now using to create innovations in terms of financial service and delivery. Through this MOU, PNG is inviting the investors to explore the possibility of creating a special economic zone for blockchain technology in Finschhafen, Morbe Province. Shane Ninai, co-founder of Day One Investments, is the PNG representative for the exploration.
Last week, Thursday, the PNG government signed a memorandum of understanding with a group of blockchain investors from the Silicon Valley, USA.
Into a simple understanding where we are inviting these partners through Mr. Ninai to come in and explore the possibility of a special economic zone based around this development of blockchain technology and creating the
central bank will be representing the government in interacting with the investors to explore and develop a proposal through a feasibility study, which will take almost 3 to 4 months.
Central bank governor as well will be representing the PNG government, and we'll be interacting with the task force led by Shane Ninai, representing the investors, and they will be just exploring and developing a proposal to put to government to consider to progress it to the next step.
Member for Finchafen, Rainbow Paita, gave his full support for the headquarters of the Special Economic Zone to be in Finchafen.
Technology is the future of any country, so we are taking, as a small country, taking a big leap into something big as this, and that shouldn't stop us from taking calculated risk. So I just want to thank the government.
Co-founder of Day One Investments and PNG representative for the Silicon Valley investors, Shane Ninai, said this is a very new high-tech venture, but well thought out. They have every intention of delivering to the best of their ability.
Very new and exciting time. The technology that we are about to look at introducing into Papua New Guinea is the biggest thing since the internet. So in terms of the upside, there is a lot, and I'm looking forward to engaging with the government, the relevant departments, and also the people of Finchafen to hopefully realizing this.
The first stage is securing a piece of land for the economic zone, as well as engaging with local stakeholders.
Deputy Prime Minister and Treasurer just mentioned. And underneath those headings, there is quite a few things to obviously consider. And that's why we're looking forward to engaging with the central bank and especially the governor on finding out what we'd like to do and what is possible to do. And so, yeah, we're looking at probably 3 to 4 months. At least that's on our...
Lilian Soperakinea, National EMTV News.
With National EMTV News, we'll be back with more stories after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It was an evening of fashion, glamour and awe as 11 PNG designers displayed their amazing collections of clothes from contemporary to modern wear. The 2018 Png Fashion Week that kick-started on Wednesday, 4th of April and ended yesterday evening with the Gold Show at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex. The Gold Runway Show was graced by a special appearance from Fiji's world supermodel Zaira Beg.
11 PNG designers based locally and internationally showcased a number of their collections on the runway during a gold fashion show. The show started off early in the week with the Pikinini show at the Vision City Mall. Yesterday evening saw a variety of collections from known PNG designers such as Anna Amos and Natasha Tamanabai, with a couple of new designers being introduced to the PNG fashion industry.
Always loved making stuff, but I never really realized that I was going to come into designing clothes. And I think only after my youngest son left home, I felt free to be able to do something I love, which was designing clothes. And so here I am, enjoying and loving it, yeah.
Diana flew in from Hong Kong and is a first-timer in the industry. Originally from the Collingwood Bay in Northern Province, where her inspiration to her designs is derived from. 2017 Westpac Woman awardee Ruth Kissam was the keynote speaker of the event. She encouraged PNG women to work together and draw from each other's strengths to stand together for development.
We need our sisters. I always say this. We need to be our sisters' keepers. If we are not there for each other, no one will. We'll always be one ship alone on that ocean. So I always say this. I'll be grateful for people that stand with me, women especially, that stand with me on this.
Although it was a female-dominated event, two male designers, Robin Morove and Dylan Yaruso, boldly displayed their collections as well. Miss World Supermodel Fiji made a special appearance on the runway as well. Stacey Yallo, National EMTV News.
The University of Technology now has an alumni association set up to network all former graduates. The association was launched last Thursday on the eve of the institution's 50th graduation ceremony. Minister for Planning and guest speaker Richard Maru said it was important for universities in the country to establish alumni associations because it in itself can become a source of funding for institutions.
Leh International Hotel's Grand Hall was filled with people eager to support the alumni launch. Amongst them were former graduates who attended with the support of their employers. Planning Minister Richard Maru, who is also a former graduate of Unitec, commended the efforts made by the council and interim executives in setting up Unitec's alumni.
So our biggest challenge, my dear Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, is to improve quality of education at Unitec. Know that the alumni, the network of graduates and their connections, both in country and outside the country, can become a major source of funding to complement what we as government do in terms of funding support for Unitec and other universities as well.
Since the first 4 students graduated from Unitec in the 1970s, the university has not had an alumni association. It was registered with the IPA last year and officially launched on the eve of the 50th graduation ceremony, marking a milestone for the university. Unitec has produced close to 20,000 graduates over the years. The Unitec alumni's mission statement is to network, inspire, engage and promote opportunities for the alumni, students and university. Acting Vice Chancellor for Unitec, Dr. Ora Renagi, said the setting up of the alumni is an opportunity for former graduates to give back to the institution. All former graduates are encouraged to register. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Mount Hagen campus of International Training Institute held its first graduation last Friday. 89 students graduated with certificates in computing, accounting and human resource management. The private institution has plans to offer degree programs in future for its 10 campuses.
With the graduating theme, Knowledge is Transformation, the institution tries its best to transform the lives of its students so that they can be changed person after graduating. ITI Managing Director Kumaran Sentival told the graduates that the institution is affiliated with local and overseas universities to offer degree courses. Those who graduated can always apply. Sentival said the institution is here to stay and will build more human resource in Western Highlands Province and PNG as a whole.
You can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So we, as our academics, are giving you education, but how you use it is up to you. You can use it in a good way, otherwise you can just sit at home and not use it at all.
ITI Mount Hagen campus was opened in 2016. This year alone, over 4,000 students were selected to do their certificate and diploma courses at ITI campuses. For Mount Hagen alone, 600 students were selected to study at the institution. Western Highlands Education Board Chairman Lawrence Penna spoke at the graduation that the province will support the institution. Those at secondary school level who can't make it to tertiary education can upgrade and apply to such institutions to further their studies.
Education is a lifelong journey. That when we finish school, a lot of people think that school ends when we are finishing grade 10, school ends when we are finishing grade 12. But education does not stop.
Representatives from private sectors also attended the graduation and encouraged the graduates to practice ethics at all times. The speakers also told them to be career-driven and be committed to their jobs to prosper.
Commitment is what we need in every employee in any organization. Whether it's big or small, whether it's running properly or not running properly, whoever is working in a particular organization has to be full-time into it. Congratulations, Yaman.
Vasanata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Members of the Anglican Church officially launched a new community development model. The model is to see communities pull together local assets to meet needs of communities. A small gathering was hosted at Garahu yesterday by employees of Anglicare PNG, invited dignitaries and members of the public to signify the occasion. The development program will be known as Kisim Na Givim. The program has received financial backing from Sir Brian Bell Foundation and India Association of PNG. Anglicare representatives say the aim of the model is to address poverty in the country. You're with National EMTV News, stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Welcome back. It was an evening of fashion, glamour and awe as 11 PNG designers displayed their amazing collections of clothes from contemporary to modern wear. The 2018 Png Fashion Week that kick-started on Wednesday, 4th of April and ended yesterday evening with the Gold Show at the Sir John Guy's Indoor Complex. The Gold Runway Show was graced by a special appearance from Fiji's world supermodel Zaira Beg.
11 PNG designers based locally and internationally showcased a number of their collections on the runway during a gold fashion show. The show started off early in the week with the Pikinini show at the Vision City Mall. Yesterday evening saw a variety of collections from known PNG designers such as Anna Amos and Natasha Tamanabai, with a couple of new designers being introduced to the PNG fashion industry.
I've always loved making stuff, but I never really realized that it was going to come into designing clothes. And I think only after my youngest son left home, I felt free to be able to do something I love, which was designing clothes. And so here I am, enjoying and loving it, yeah.
Diana flew in from Hong Kong and is a first-timer in the industry. Originally from the Collingwood Bay in Northern Province, where her inspiration to her designs is derived from. 2017 Westpac Woman awardee Ruth Kissam was the keynote speaker of the event. She encouraged PNG women to work together and draw from each other's strengths to stand together for development.
We need our sisters. I always say this. We need to be our sisters' keepers. If we are not there for each other, no one will. We'll always be one ship alone on that ocean. So I always say this. I'll be grateful for people that stand with me. Women especially, that stand with me on this.
Although it was a female-dominated event, two male designers, Robin Morove and Dylan Yaruso, boldly displayed their collections as well. Miss World Supermodel Fiji made a special appearance on the runway as well. Stacey Yallo, National EMTV News.
The University of Technology now has an alumni association set up to network all former graduates. The association was launched last Thursday on the eve of the institution's 50th graduation ceremony. Minister for Planning and Guest Speaker Richard Marrow said it was important for universities in the country to establish alumni associations because it in itself can become a source of funding for institutions.
Leh International Hotel's Grand Hall was filled with people eager to support the alumni launch. Amongst them were former graduates who attended with the support of their employers. Planning Minister Richard Marrow, who is also a former graduate of Unitec, commended the efforts made by the council and interim executives in setting up Unitec's alumni.
So our biggest challenge, my dear Chancellor and Vice Chancellor, is to improve quality of education in Unitec. Know that the alumni, the network of graduates and their connections, both in country and outside the country, can become a major source of funding to complement what we as government do in terms of funding support for Unitec and other universities as well.
Since the first 4 students graduated from Unitec in the 1970s, the university has not had an alumni association. It was registered with the IPA last year and officially launched on the eve of the 50th graduation ceremony, marking a milestone for the university. Unitec has produced close to 20,000 graduates over the years. The Unitec alumni's mission statement is to network, inspire, engage and promote opportunities for the alumni, students and university. Acting Vice Chancellor for Unitec, Dr. Ora Renagi, said the setting up of the alumni is an opportunity for former graduates to give back to the institution. All former graduates are encouraged to register. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
The Mount Hagen campus of International Training Institute held its first graduation last Friday. 89 students graduated with certificates in computing, accounting and human resource management. The private institution has plans to offer degree programs in future for its 10 campuses.
With the graduating theme, Knowledge is Transformation, the institution tries its best to transform the lives of its students so that they can be changed person after graduating. ITI Managing Director Kumaran Sentival told the graduates that the institution is affiliated with local and overseas universities to offer degree courses. Those who graduated can always apply. Sentival said the institution is here to stay and will build more human resource in Western Highlands Province and PNG as a whole.
You can take the horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. So we, as our academics, are giving you education, but how you use it is up to you. You can use it in a good way, otherwise you can just sit at home and not use it at all.
ITI Mount Hagen campus was opened in 2016. This year alone, over 4,000 students were selected to do their certificate and diploma courses at ITI campuses. For Mount Hagen alone, 600 students were selected to study at the institution. Western Highlands Education Board Chairman Lawrence Penna spoke at the graduation that the province will support the institution. Those at secondary school level who can't make it to tertiary education can upgrade and apply to such institutions to further their studies.
Education is a lifelong journey. That when we finish school, a lot of people think that school ends when we are finishing grade 10, school ends when we are finishing grade 12. But education does not stop.
Representatives from private sectors also attended the graduation and encouraged the graduates to practice ethics at all times. The speakers also told them to be career-driven and be committed to their jobs to prosper.
Commitment is what we need in every employee in any organization. Whether it's big or small, whether it's running properly or not running properly, whoever is working in a particular organization has to be full-time into it. Congratulations, Amen.
Vasanata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Members of the Anglican Church officially launched a new community development model. The model is to see communities pull together local assets to meet needs of communities. A small gathering was hosted at Garahu yesterday by employees of Anglicare PNG, invited dignitaries and members of the public to signify the occasion. The development program will be known as Kisimna Givim. The program has received financial backing from Sir Brian Bell Foundation and India Association of PNG. Anglicare representatives say the aim of the model is to address poverty in the country. You're with National EMTV News, stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Welcome back to the news. A fitness club in Lae is working to promote and make streets of Lae safer for residents and visiting public. A representative from the club says the group has met many challenges and hopes to work with stakeholders and authorities to encourage the safe campaign for Lae City. An MTV crew caught up with the group in one of their morning exercises recently.
Thank you, Andy. Hi.
Thank you. The Lae Fitness Club is into its 4th month of its morning routine of exercise and campaign. The club is gaining support as more residents join to be part of the physical workout, as well as spreading the message of making Lae safe for all.
Firstly, we set out to normalize the streets and tell the general public that it's our city. We want to make it livable. We want to make it safe. And we want to take back our cities from like the fear factor that we couldn't come out at 5 a.m. in the morning and enjoy ourselves, walk, and because in the morning it's very peaceful.
It's not just an ordinary walk this group performs in the early morning hours of the day. Sarah Alder says many challenges have been faced, however the group has managed to deal with those directly affected.
The elements, any negative elements, we've actually counted them, and now we're friends with everyone. And yeah, we walk between 5 and 10 Ks 3 times a week. So there's been some great transformation. We're reaching our goals.
These residents of Lae want a safer Lae for all. They say the campaign is different from all its other activities. A recent walk saw the group beginning in Erico down to Voko Point and up to Lae's Top Town area.
Yeah, we'd like to promote this vibe right throughout. Yeah, Mosby has their Walk for Life. We want to call it Walk for Christ. Because
their campaign has progressed with many Lae residents joining the club. Jacob Power Jr. National EMTV News.
Turning overseas, CNN has learned that American intelligence officials have been holding secret talks with their North Korean counterparts to try and organize a potential summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. This is according to several Trump administration officials. The U.S. sees these back-channel communications as evidence that North Korea is serious about meeting with U.S. President.
Several administration officials tell CNN the U.S. and North Korea have been holding secret direct talks to prepare for a summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, a sign that planning for the highly anticipated meeting is progressing. Now, Central Intelligence Agency Director Mike Pompeo and a team at the CIA have been working an intelligence channel which has been in place for several years to make preparations for the summit. American and North Korean intelligence officials have spoken several times. They've even met in a third country with a focus on nailing down a location for the talks. North Koreans want to have the meeting in their capital, Pyongyang. It's unclear whether the White House would be willing to hold the talks there. We also understand Mongolia has been raised as a possible location. Now, we haven't heard publicly from North Korea about Kim Jong-un's invitation to meet with Trump, which was conveyed last month by a South Korean envoy to the White House. Several officials say North Korea has since acknowledged Trump's acceptance and that Pyongyang has even reaffirmed it's willing to discuss the denuclearization issue, something very important to the United States and a condition for talks. Now, these preparatory talks, officials say, are giving the U.S. more confidence that the North Koreans are serious, and these talks are laying the groundwork for a meeting between Pompeo and his North Korean counterpart in advance of the summit. Once a location is agreed upon, officials said that the date will be set and the agenda will be discussed in greater detail. And Mike Pompeo's confirmation hearing to become the next Secretary of State is this week. If confirmed, he'd also assume oversight of diplomatic preparations, along with the new National Security Advisor, John Bolton, who started work this weekend.
After visiting the country this year, United Nations senior-most official says Myanmar is not ready for the repatriation of Rohingya refugees after being accused of instigating ethnic cleansing and driving nearly 700,000 Muslims to Bangladesh. Ursula Mueller, UN's Assistant Secretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, made a 6-day visit to Myanmar and was allowed a visit to Rakhine State, indicating a tentative shift in Myanmar's thus far tough stance towards the UN. She also met army-controlled ministers of defense and border affairs as well as de facto leader Aung San Suu Kyi, where Mueller urged them to end the violence.
Asked them to end the violence. I reiterated what the Secretary General of the United Nations called for, an end to violence, and that the return of the refugees from Cox's Bazar has to be on a voluntary, dignified way when solutions are durable. From what I've seen and heard from people, no access to health services, concerns about protection, continued displacements, the conditions are not conducive to return.
Mueller also expressed concerns whether returnees would be allowed to return to their places of origin. Human Rights Watch has said Myanmar has bulldozed at least 55 villages that were emptied during violence. A total of 362 villages had been partially or completely destroyed since August.
I've not seen or heard that there were any preparations for people to go to their places of origin. There's also land rights involved, and the conditions in the IDP settlements are dire. The refugees in Cox's Bazar will have to make informed decisions, and the Minister of...
The exodus of the Rohingya Muslims followed the August 25 crackdown by the military in the northwestern state of Rakhine. Myanmar and Bangladesh agreed in January to complete a voluntary repatriation of the refugees in 2 years. Since then, Myanmar has set up 2 reception centers and what it says is a temporary camp near the border in Rakhine to receive the first arrivals. Vietnam's Culture Ministry has issued a directive against inappropriate statues after images of godlike sculptures with animal heads and human genitalia stoked controversy. The statues on display at a holiday resort in the city of Haiphong have had their offending parts modestly covered up with bikinis and other swimwear, but that has only added to the interest in them. Despite sweeping economic reforms and increasing openness towards social change and ubiquitous internet fare, communist-ruled Vietnam maintains a conservative attitude towards sex and nudity. The cover-up of the offending bits of the statues attracted even more attention, with pictures of the more modest displays going viral online. Vice Director of Honda Resort, Nguyen Trung Tan, says the statues will be moved to an area that only allows people above the ages of 18 entry, and a fence will be built to block the view from outside with signs that say under 18 not allowed. The fence will block the view of the lower part of the statues. If families with children do not wish to enter this area, they can move in another direction. The kids' garden and zoo is on the other side of the hill, so they won't be affected, said Nguyen Trung Tan.
One male statue with a horse's head had been dressed in what appeared to be a red miniskirt. Another, with a goat's head, had been clad a tight pair of green swimming briefs. Tan's company later swapped the sculpture swimwear for plastic leaves and fruit, but the Culture Ministry was not amused. Published on its website, the ministry said in its directive the recent construction and display of statues and symbols have had contents and forms that are inappropriate to Vietnamese culture. The ministry did not single out the Haiphong statues in the text of its directive but posted a picture of the 12 statues. The ministry added that the statues had a negative impact on the cultural environment and aesthetic taste of society. Tan said his company had monitored visitors' responses to the statues when they were first put up some 5 years ago, and since then seen no objections so far.
Chukai Sports is next. Don't go away.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Stephen Curry has become the first PNG athlete to win gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. Stephen's brilliant performance in the 94 kg weightlifting division put him ahead of Canada and India this afternoon. He also set a new record in the clean and jerk. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill has congratulated the first two Papua New Guinean athletes who won silver medals at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. He congratulated Moria Baru and Dika Toa for their tremendous efforts to win medals in weightlifting. The Prime Minister also applauded every athlete who has made it to the Games and said the country is behind them all the way. Now to some water sport. The Royal Papua Yacht Club held its traditional ceremony. The Commodores sailed today under the clear blue sky at the Fairfax Harbour in Port Moresby. The annual event, as usual, signified the opening of the sailing season, which will be hosted by RPYC. A significant representation from powered boats to canoes and others joined in the action.
Seafarers and sailing enthusiasts alike were up early today, itching to cruise the blue waters of the Fairfax Harbour, as it is commonly known. The loading dock at the marina was bustling with sailors and seafarers of all ages setting up their canoes, hoisting up their sails or changing the engine oils. They all share the same passion. The committee boat Rhapsody, classed as the A-class powered vessel, set out the marina and anchored in position. At 10:45 a.m. decorated boats drifting, forming groups of respective style and shape. The unique but significant ceremony began with the blessing of the fleet by Pastor John Togwata.
We praise you and we honor you. We ask all these things in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ and Savior. Amen.
RPYC boss Kilroy Genia remarkably declared the 2018 season open, and in the vessel type class category, they sailed and pedaled past Commodore and the board members aboard Rhapsody as they approved with a wave and salute. Drifting nearby and gracing the participants with an approval of safety at sea was PAC SAR Search and Rescue.
What we have done in the recent past is that we have revived a lot of the core activities of the club, particularly water-based activities, sailing, because that's what your club is all about. And so our focus is in that area. We are also making sure that there are also land-based activities, because your club is a church of people, made up of people with different interests, different demographics, different experiences, and the club will continue to work hard to meet those challenges.
The Commodore's Cup yacht race commenced straight after the sail past and concluded this evening with the presentation of Best Dressed Boat and Best Dressed Sporting Division along with the Commodore's Cup. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Chukai Sports continues with more after the break. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To football, Bayern Munich clinched a sixth successive Bundesliga title with 5 games to spare on Saturday by winning 4-1 at Augsburg despite falling behind to a bizarre own goal. To AFL, a Richmond fan who went into labour during last year's preliminary finals has returned to the MCG for her son's first footy match. Decked down in yellow and black, the Tiger Cub has no choice about which team he will support.
6-month-old baby Archer is ready for his first official footy match. Before he was even born, Archie was at one of Richmond's most memorable games, with last year's preliminary final coinciding with his due date.
Waters broke at the game and rushed over to the hospital.
Mum Ashley watched the rest of the match in hospital.
I burst into tears when we won the game, and some of the midwives came out and, "Are you okay? Or, you know, what's happening?" And I was just so excited that we were in the grand final.
If you haven't guessed, Ash is a die-hard Richmond fan. There was no discussing who this little Tiger Cub would support.
Where's Dusty? Where's Dusty? Great memories of my sister and I and our dad going every weekend, so hoping to kind of keep that tradition going on and taking him so he can have the same experiences as I did.
With Heath, a Hawks fan, today's match is bound to test the family harmony. But Heath has a plan.
If we're lucky enough to have child number 2, definitely be a Hawthorn supporter. I'll get the membership sorted before birth, I reckon, this time, so there's no arguing.
At Family Day, a special delivery from Daniel Rioli sealed the deal.
Hello, what got here? Hey, you like this? I got told that I think after the prelim, and to finally meet him and the family as well. Good job, Mum. Yeah, first game, can't wait. Hopefully get a win as well.
And it was for Ash and Archer. Georgia May.
That's a wrap for Trukai Sports, where the details coming up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Looking at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region, fine weather in Port Moresby and Popondetta, a shower or two in Daru and Kerema, and few showers in Alotau. In Momasa region, few showers in Lae, fine weather in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo, and rain in Wau. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Lorengau, fine weather in Kavieng, Kimbe and Buka, and a shower or two in Kokopo and Rabaul. And in the Highlands region, few showers all across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabag. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru, Kiwai Island to Kerema, Yule Island to Hood Point, Samare Island with waters of Long Island to Medeng, Bogia to Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo, northern PNG Indonesian border, and with waters of New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, and with waters of Samare Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, seas of 1.5 to 2 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Straits to Siasi Islands to Long Island, seas of 1.5 to 2.5 meters. And waters of Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas moderate with southwest winds at 15 to 20 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas moderate with west to northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas light to moderate with 10 to 20 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slide to moderate with northeast to northwest winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
Now, before we go, 16 renowned artists, musicians and upcoming artists performed last night at the Cosmopolitan nightclub in Port Moresby to raise funds for the earthquake-stricken provinces of Hela and Southern Highlands. Performances by Sprigga Mac, B Red Band, Kronos, Wame Blood and featuring artists saw a huge number of people from all walks of life turning up to show their support for the earthquake relief and restoration efforts.
The concert was set up to bring together musicians to use their talent for a worthy cause. Renowned PNG painter Jeffrey Figure was also painting live as the concert went on throughout the night.
As musicians, we have fans living around Southern Islands, Hela, and then Kutubu, Mount Pusavi, and the places that have been impacted by the earthquake. So, as musicians, we wanted to give back to the community that supported us on our music journey.
People from all walks of life turned up in numbers at the Cosmopolitan Club to show their support towards the affected provinces. Performances from the likes of O4, B Red, Johnny Yawari of Wame Blood were some of the highlights of the concert. All proceedings of the event will be directly diverted to buying relief and restoration supplies for Hela and Southern Highlands provinces.
We talk about our mountain, we talk about our water, we talk about our people. And unfortunately, it is our mountain and water, people are calling over and Bagarat. So, as a musicians, people come, people are trying to help him. Clothing where people are thinking, people are play music.
Approximately 5 weeks on, many of the earthquake-stricken provinces have been receiving little support. People are still living in fear as they face constant aftershocks daily, especially in the Hela and parts of Southern Highlands province. As if this is not enough, another 6.3 magnitude earthquake was reported at 2:39 p.m. local time, striking southwest of Porgera in the Enga province.
Boys were here, musicians stop on ground, help him for another 1 week after the performance, but ground.
Heli Solutions, a local chopper company which was the major sponsor for the concert, will be transporting the artists to the earthquake-affected provinces in the coming days for the selected artists to actively participate in the relief and restoration activity. Stacey Yalo, National EMTV News.
Now here's a recap of tonight's top stories. Unrests in Madang have left 2 dead and a policeman seriously injured. Retired PNGDF Commander Jerry Singirok says the government must seek intelligence support from external sources abroad to solve guns issue. And Stephen Curry wins PNG's first gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Games. And that's the way it is this Sunday, the 8th of April 2018. From the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing. Good night.